You are listening to the Succession Link Get Connected podcast. Succession Link is the leading networking and communication platform connecting financial advisors who are interested in buying, selling, merging, and finding succession planning options for their practices. Please welcome the host of Get Connected and co-founder at Succession Link, Flakes.
Hello, and welcome back to episode 2 of the Get Connected podcast. Again, I'm your host, Flakes, and I just want to thank everyone who joined us for episode 1, and we're excited to keep the show rolling into episode 2. Our first segment is the Opportunity Spotlight, and these opportunities are commonly referred to as featured practice listings from the Succession Link community. And so today I will be highlighting 3 new featured practices that we found to be new and unique. Every day we have new members joining the platform looking to buy, sell, merge, and find succession. So this list is certainly not the only new opportunities, but given the time constraints of the show, we do our best to share a few. We select these featured practices each week to give you some sense of the type of opportunities that exist, with the hopes that you'll go ahead and access your account, reach out if you're interested, and continue to search the community for other similar practices that are of interest to you. Another great way to stay informed about new members and new practices is by setting your opportunity filters so that you receive exactly the opportunities that you want to hear about in the community at the frequency at which you want them in your email inbox. So whether that's daily or weekly. This practice comes to us from Oklahoma with 15 million in assets under management and just over 60,000 in annual gross revenues. This advisor is looking to work with an individual for 3 years and then completely sell the book of business and ultimately retire. The ideal client has an advanced understanding of technology and would be working with the advisor's current clients for 10 to 15 years. The advisor's clients are accustomed to the old-fashioned work style that includes periodic house calls. And so the ideal candidate should certainly be aware of that. And they should have a 63 and 67 and have experience with managed money and fee-based business. As far as the business mix breakdown for this practice, 90% of the business is transactional or commission-based business, and then 10% is fee-based business. Number of accounts inside of this practice are 85, and then the average client age is just over 65. For more on the business mix breakdown, 15% of the fee-based business, again, commission to fee is 90% commission to 10% fee. 15% of that fee-based business is in managed money. 10% of the overall business is in mutual funds. 60% of the overall business is in alternative investments, and then 10% of the overall business is in financial planning. The third-party money manager that is utilized in the practice is Weatherstone Capital Management, and this advisor also goes on to talk about the mutual fund family that is of choice for the practice, and that is American Funds. The insurance business is done with Mass Mutual, and the CRM of choice for this practice is Salesforce. Interesting story about this advisor. So they have been working closely with one of the engagement consultants here at Succession Link. I think originally they had started out with Succession Link, getting a feel for the platform, and originally, I believe, even wanted to buy a practice. I think after several months being a part of the platform, realizing that they did not have a succession plan in place, and through some of the educational resources that are provided on the site, realized that it may be a good time to start thinking about succession planning options for themselves. So through the course, again, of about 6 months working with one of the engagement consultants, they are now listed as an advisor, again, looking to sell or find succession. The next practice on the featured practice listings comes to us from West Virginia, and this practice has 40 million in assets under management, and the annual gross revenues are just over 370,000. This advisor is looking to sell, merge, find succession, or find continuity. This advisor has also been in business 28 years, and for the makeup of the business, looks to be about 450 accounts, and the average client age is 60. And then when you look at the business mix breakdown, 75% of this business is commission-based business, and 25% of this business is fee-based business. This advisor then goes on to break down the business mix in a little bit more detail, saying that 25% of the business is in managed money, 35% of the business is in mutual funds, 15% is in annuities, 10% in insurance, 15% in alternative investments. So looks to certainly be a fairly well-rounded practice. The clearing firm or custodian is Pershing, and some of the mutual fund companies, I won't go through all of them because it looks like there are quite a few, but the top ones are American Funds, BlackRock, Franklin Templeton, and Investco Funds. And then for variable annuity carriers, Jackson National and Ohio National Life Insurance. And so for technology solutions, they're utilizing Morningstar, and their CRM of choice is Redtail. This featured practice listing comes to us from Westlake Village, California. And in this practice, there are 33 million in assets under management, and the gross annual revenues are 378,000. This advisor is looking to sell or possibly merge, certainly find succession and continuity. And so in the overview and description, this advisor is saying that they are a solo financial planning practice, and they would like to be a part of an ensemble practice with others, where the clients are clients of the entire firm, and it would also serve as a succession plan in case of death or disability. This advisor is duly licensed and only interested in other duly licensed entities, so no standalone RIAs. For more information on the practice, this practice has 150 accounts. The average client age is 50. Then we'll shift into the business mix breakdown. So if you take a look, 65% is invested in managed money, 12% is invested in mutual funds, 7% in insurance, 15% in alternative investments, 1% of the practice is financial planning. The custody and clearing firms that are utilized in the practice are Fidelity, Pershing, Schwab, and TD Ameritrade. So, covering the top four. The third-party money managers that are utilized in the practice are AssetMark, Loring Ward, FTJ Fund Choice, One Capital, and Portfolio Strategies. The mutual fund companies are American Funds and Salient Funds. And the insurance business is done with American General, Nationwide, Pacific Life, Penn Mutual, Prudential, and Voya. The technology solutions, so this advisor is using quite a bit of technology in their practice, as they have noted here. They leverage Albridge, Laser Apps, Laserfiche, Money Guide Pro, Morningstar, and Smarsh. The CRM of choice is Redtail and Advisor's Assistant. And again, this practice is 33 million with assets under management in Westlake Village.
In the following interview, Phil Flakes, co-founder at Succession Link, interviews Tom Scharf on his first-hand experience using the Succession Link platform to sell his practice with $27 million in assets under management.
If you can think back to all that you went through, I guess, with our platform and anywhere else to get to the point where you are now, which is, practice sold and accomplished what you were looking to accomplish through the site. We just want to be able to tell that story and obviously share your story with other people that may be in the same position or thinking about that at some point in the future.
I think it first started 3-4 years ago. I wasn't really necessarily thinking about selling. I was just thinking about the future and what my options were. And then I got more serious. In my particular case, there was 2 reasons. One of them was my wife was quite ill, and I was acting as a caregiver. And the other was the rumblings of the new DOL rule that was coming on stream. And so this sort of put a little fire under me to act sooner rather than later to determine what I should do, if anything. because my plans were basically just to keep working as long as I possibly could, because most of my business was trails. Then seeing the deal, like I said, what was happening in the industry as far as the DOL rule, because I really wasn't into fee-based planning. And I did a lot of retirement plans, a lot of rollovers from 401ks. And I saw some implications there that I wasn't really too comfortable with in the way my business is operated. A lot of annuities. So I started doing more research on the internet, looking for companies or consultants that specialized in buying and selling or bringing parties together. And then, then that brought me to signing up for your service.
From the time that you paid for the account, I guess your first interaction with buyers, what did that look like?
Well, then that's when I took it serious that, I bought this. So then I took some time to fill out the profile and do it, professionally. And I immediately started getting responses, quite a few. So then I knew that this service was something that a lot of people were using. So then I started thinking more seriously about things, that there really was a market out there for my business. So I was glad I did. $850 investment turned me into a millionaire.
We love to hear it. And so one of the things I hear you saying is that you realized there was a market for your business. Were you questioning as to whether there was prior to signing up for the site?
I really was, because I'm located in a rural area. What I didn't realize was evidently a lot of the practices out there are merging or buying practices all over the country. They don't necessarily have to be right next door. And that was sort of surprising to me that I had interest from people everywhere from California to Arizona, Pennsylvania, Vermont, you name it. Quite frankly, I couldn't quite figure out how they could do that. But they, through conversations with them, advised me that they had done it with others.
Gotcha. And for the buyers that, I guess, first approached you, did you get the sense that they were prepared?
Well, what happened was, as soon as they contacted me, I would email them back and then I'd say to them, are you interested in getting more confidential details? Or else I talk to them on the phone usually first. And they say yes, even before I really got into much. So then I emailed them this. And, this is just a basic breakdown here I've got written up. And I got about 15 bullet points and right down to the nitty gritty. So they know exactly. Production, assets under management, trails, client profile information, P&L expenses, company asset breakdown is attached confidentially for your review. And then I have further bullet points. Established in 1988, branch office, such a location, age 54 and a half. Wife is disabled, recently declined, requires more family care. Desire to merge with a firm where our buyout is done, but I would remain licensed to be able to do business and help transition. I believe we need to advise clients of no changes. If real estate is available to be purchased, $125,000. In any scenario, I would expect your firm to bring in your guns, expertise, experience, and manpower to make transition easy and seamless. I'm a very reasonable person. Were to surface any issues, I would be there to help you. I desire to deal with a reputable firm that's done this before, with or without real estate. My goal is to obtain the maximum upfront payment with absolute guarantees of paramount importance. If you wish to discuss further, they got everything. I told them everything. And I had a lot of people come back to me and tell me that they really like that. They said, they sensed the way I think, that I was organized, that I was prepared. Then, not to get ahead of myself, but as I was going through this process, I went through and I spent hours and hours going through all your people on the list that were looking to do a merger or a buyout. And I screened out the ones I thought would be interested in mine. And I sent them a correspondence to probably 200 or 300 or 400, telling them that basic information. I didn't send them out the confidentiality thing, and if they wanted to discuss or more information, to contact me. And so I actually did, prospecting, so to speak. And I got a lot of them back from that. A lot of them that I didn't even really think would be that interested got back to me. I even had a company out of Wall Street that wanted me to work for them and set up a branch office. And then I had another one that wanted to, merge with them, and all these different kinds of scenarios.
How many prospects are we talking about at this point?
Well, I had it narrowed down to maybe 12. And then through telephone conversations, narrowed it down to where I actually met with 6 parties. I got proposals. They all gave me. Then we talked in terms more of how they would do it or what they proposed and what would work for both of us. And then it came down to 2. One guy, Port Jefferson, Long Island, who was one of the guys that I had prospected him. And I really liked those guys. And what I also wanted was, of those 6, 3 of them were only like individual guys. And I wanted a team of people, which I felt would be strong in making the transition from my clients to them.
And is that something that you had in your thoughts at the outset of this entire experience, or was it something that you found out after maybe talking to a handful of people?
It's something I found out in talking to a handful of people. I wasn't really thinking along those lines. But then as I got into it, then it came clear to me that this could be a very positive thing if it was more of the team approach. I learned a lot going through the whole process. I really did.
And I guess what was the biggest surprise for you through the process?
I think the biggest surprise was the number of people I had contact me. It's like at least 5 or 6 every day. I mean, I couldn't believe it.
So I guess what would be a piece of advice that you would give to any other advisor before they join Succession Link or while they're a part of the community that you think would help make a better experience for anybody that, again, is either on the platform or considering it?
Well, as a seller, I think I would do my homework, make sure I had all the data that they would need to be able to make a decision pretty much up front. Rather than dragging it out, people lose interest and they go elsewhere, where they can see it, bang, this is something I like. And, put it right out there in the most attractive way you can, in a professional piece that you could send to them as a follow-up to the people that you thought would be possible candidates.
Well, Tom, I want to thank you again for obviously sharing your experience on the platform. Is there anything else, I guess, kind of final thoughts or things that you would share with, again, any prospective user or your peers in the industry about our platform and about your experience?
If they're thinking at all of wanting to do something, by way of retirement, merger, buying a business or whatever, I would just say to them that the best place that I know of to go is to register for Succession Link.
It was great getting the opportunity to speak with Tom about his experience. It was definitely refreshing to hear how prepared he was before reaching out to prospective buyers and to hear what stuck out in his mind as he proactively searched for buyers in the marketplace. We hear from time to time from buyers, why do I need to supply so much information on my end about my practice if I'm only looking to buy? Well, here's an example to answer that question. Bottom line, it puts you in the best position to be successful on the platform. It lets sellers know quickly about your practice and that you've taken the first step to let them know you're serious about acquisition. So thanks again, Tom, for sharing your experience, and congratulations. For anyone that would like to hear the full interview, there will be a link in the show notes.
When is the right time to sell your business? Today, just 3% of financial advisors have a written continuity plan in place to protect their company and the interests of the clients in the event of disability or death. This is quite a startling statistic. You probably won't be shocked to discover that most of these advisors are those who are aged 60 years old or above. However, this still does not make pretty reading, as only 31% of advisors in this age range have a written succession plan in place. It is ironic that most financial advisors are failing to plan and prepare their future when they do such a good job of this for their clients. Unless things drastically change, the 70,000 advisors that intend to retire in the next decade are going to run into a lot of trouble. Think about it. You have no doubt informed many of your clients to make sure they do not become too emotionally attached to their investments. You have probably informed them that they need to act dispassionately and rationally as circumstances and the market dictate. it is crucial that you do act in the same manner as well. Of course, it can be difficult to think about selling your business as you may have become attached. So when is the right time for you? You need to be honest with yourself. Though, is it better to start transitioning out of your business when you are 60 years old, when both you and your clients are in good health? When you are fully engaged in your business and you still have positive net AUM growth? Or would you prefer to wait until you're 70 years old, watching your assets drain away? At this point, your ability and desire to gather assets will have fallen, and you may even have health issues to contend with too. You also need to consider the fact that an aging client base will mean that the value of your business is decreasing. For most advisors, the average client quote-unquote sweet spot is wealthy clients that tend to be around 5 to 10 years older than they are. What this means is, by the time you are thinking about selling your firm, a lot of your clients will be in their retirement phase. Their assets will be depleting, and this can reduce the value of your business as a whole, as your clients are no longer as valuable, so to speak. Of course, there is no magic formula when it comes to working out when the right time is. It is a decision that is personal and often emotionally charged. Nevertheless, you do need to be realistic with yourself and ensure you do not stay involved in the business for too long. Being honest and rational and knowing when to call it quits is something you teach your clients to do, so make sure you take your own advice.
Thanks for tuning in to episode 2. And for any members of the Succession Link community that are in the Boston area, we have a networking event taking place next week on Wednesday, May 24th from 5 to 8 at the Chart House in Boston. And at this event, there will be current and prospective members of Succession Link coming together for really a fun and informative night to network and learn more about Succession Link. And more specifically, some of the topics that we'll cover are how to build a system for growth through acquisition, valuation methodologies, risks and opportunities of buying or selling a practice, and the ideal business plan for sourcing and engaging prospects. So again, that event is on May 24th at the Chart House in Boston. For more information, check the show notes for a link to sign up. Thanks again, and see you next time on Get Connected.
Next time on Get Connected. Are you an insurance agent looking to acquire a practice in today's competitive market? Mike Strakoff, Executive Director of Insurance Agency Lending at Live Oak Bank, highlights the steps to winning the deal. Stay tuned and see you next time on Get Connected.